Today we're exploring the good old sage, a plant that is so dear to me. It's so healthy for us. It's good as a food, of course, as a diet, as a spice, but also it has amazing, amazing health benefits. And there is a saying like the good old knowledge of the past. It was traditionally given by the old sages. Okay, so it has empirical uses as well as practical uses. So this spring, occasionally, I was helping taking my niece from school, and as we were walking on the sidewalk, we always came around at a specific house, and she would see this plant that looked like silver. She said, "Look, look, we got here and we see this hairy kind of leaves plant." And then eventually it bloomed into this beautiful purple flower. But yeah, it does look like greenish, silverish, kind of whitish. And when you look close, it has these little bristles that look um, like it's hairy, right? You can find it as a spice almost everywhere. So you can consume it as green, like fresh leaves, or of course dry leaves or extracts or like essential oil. When it comes to food, like this specific one, it's good in chicken, it's good with turkey, pork, any kind of potatoes. You can even put it in butter and make like a, you know how you would make garlic butter? This would be sage butter. It goes really, really well with tomato sauce. It sounds so good and it has a very strong smell. It actually is from the same class as the mint family, the official Latin name, which is Salvia officinalis. Other herbs are from the mint family: oregano, rosemary, basil, and thyme. Really, basil is amongst my favorites for sure. Let's talk about some of the amazing health benefits that this plant, the sage, brings into our lives. So, number one, in diabetes, it actually lowers the levels of blood sugars. Okay. There are actually several studies about that show the benefits in diabetes. In both types of diabetes, diabetes type 1 and diabetes type 2. And it's been equivalent, not in the potency, obviously, with the effects of metformin. So those of you that take glucophage, and also another drug, the ingredient is called risoglitazone. That is the active ingredient in the drug called Avandia. Of course, always listen to your healthcare professional. So none of this YouTube information will ever supersede what your healthcare professional teams are telling you. So my advice from my own experience is always look for the natural ways before you go on something else. Now, if you've had your blood sugars running at 300 and you're already on insulin and all that, again, see, you can add this and see how that works for you, and always do it with your local healthcare professional. Sage. So the other use is cholesterol. So if you suffer of high cholesterol, this is a good plan to lower that cholesterol. So it lowers the bad cholesterol, which is LDL. It improves the HDL, which is the good cholesterol. And what's cholesterol? It's just too much fat that circulates in our blood, and then eventually it gets clogged somewhere because it clogs our arteries, and then we end up with an accident, like vascular accident, heart attack. Every minute in United States, somebody's dying from heart disease. Those of you that know other people that have brain or memory health issues, and that can go anywhere from like Alzheimer to dementia, or even like younger people that have ADHD, so attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity disorder. Actually, again, there are studies that show it supports memory and brain health. There is a study showing that 39 participants with mild to moderate Alzheimer disease consumed either 60 drops, so 2 milliliters of extract for 4 months. And then, of course, there was another blind part of the study for placebo, which is they give you nothing with a therapeutical effect. So those taking the sage performed better on tests that measure memory, problem solving, reasoning, and other cognitive ability. And higher doses also elevated mood and increased alertness, calmness, and contentedness, supporting the health of the brain. That's wonderful. Let's see what else. Menopause, such a natural part of life where our estrogen levels start decreasing. And then we have these hot flashes and irritability and dryness in our body, including vaginal dryness. Common sage has been traditionally used to reduce menopause symptoms. How beautiful is that? And so hot flashes no more. So look into that and give it a try. I know there are lots of supplements that claim that, but it doesn't hurt trying sage. Sage can actually help prevent cancer. So what's cancer? Well, cells that grow abnormally. Studies are mostly on animal and test tubes, but demonstrate that sage may fight certain types of cancer, such as mouth cancer, colon cancer, liver cancer, cervix cancer, breast cancer, skin cancer, and kidney cancer. They found in these studies that the extract of sage not only that suppresses the growth of the cancer cells, so it kind of slows down their growth, but it also stimulates cell death. So which cancer? Cancer cell death. The idea that you have a plant that you can find anywhere, a spice that you can find anywhere, and it can actually benefit cancer. That's amazing. Another thing that it does, good old sage, it helps the oral health, suppresses some of the bacteria. There is a bacteria called streptococcus, the strep, right? The mouse strep. And so that's the one that likes to go in and cause all the cavities and mouth infections. Well, this sage has proven to help. So if you have tea, you make sage tea, and then you use that to gargle your mouth, that will benefit you. Of course, when we look at the ingredients of the sage, we find lots of antioxidants. Antioxidants being molecules that help fortify your body's defenses, neutralizing potentially harmful free radicals that are linked to chronic diseases. And sage contains over 160 distinct polyphenols, which are plant-based chemical compounds that act as antioxidants in our body. So that in itself, it's impressive, because if you go to the store, you're going to find all sorts of polyphenol extracts, from grapes, from this and from that. And so here is sage. So that in itself, it's impressive as far as health benefits, because it lowers the risk of cancer, as we talked, but it improves the brain function and memory. And not to mention the anti-aging for those that like to have, beautiful skin. It's not always about collagen. It could be, but here is sage that can help us with our wrinkles and stuff. Another thing that it does, it actually has a lot of nutrients. It packs 10% of our daily vitamin K. Now, vitamin K is a vitamin that's hyper necessary to our body, and it's involved in multiple things, including bone health. But what you may have heard, it helps clog your blood, so we don't bleed to death when we cut ourselves shaving or whatever not. So vitamin K is really important, and you can find it in other green vegetables and leafy vegetables. But here is in sage, you can find 10% of what we necessarily need today, and that's just per 1 teaspoon of ground sage. But other than the vitamin K, it's rich in iron, vitamin B6, calcium, manganese, magnesium, zinc, copper, vitamin A, C, and E. And then vitamin K is involved in bone health. And so, in order for us to prevent osteoporosis and broken bones, it probably doesn't hurt consuming this beautiful plant. Okay, ever since old ages is used for diarrhea. I even read that it was good um, for snake bites, for insect bites. So it does have this antiseptic kind of property to it. And then finally, for those of you that have heard about rituals and ceremony, both religious and spiritual, and anything that's esoteric, you might have heard of sage, because it has this cleansing property. Like dry sage, they used to burn the sage to clean up the place, to ward off the evil and the bad spirits, and just cleans up the atmosphere. So yeah, it can be used as an incense. It's called smudging. And for those of you that want to read more, I'm sure you can find stuff on the internet. That's about it with the sage. Every time you are in an area, just look in your area, where can you find sage, in what time of the year, and dry your own sage, because then you know it's not dusty, and just get it from a place where it's not a whole lot of traffic and pollution. Like for us, we've seen the sage on the sidewalk walk right next to a very busy road. So I wouldn't dare to get my sage from there and just dry it up. But because we've seen it, I decided that this would uh, benefit some of you as well. Thanks for listening. And if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and share the video. Until next time, be healthy and be safe.